This is your good friend Deadpool Kyle 28. You are listening to the Escape Podcast. This show was recorded in front of a live Twitch audience. Everything is under control. Situation normal. Take it away, boys.
One is a Grand Arena specialist from the UK. The other is a territory battle tactician from the US. Together, there are no signs of intelligent life on board. With both having played this game since launch, the one thing we are sure of is that you will be entertained. The Escape Pod Cast, a service of the Escape Pod Castaways. A weekly podcast about the mobile game Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Live from the network studios of Yavin 4, here are your hosts, Neil Andrew Eyre and Paul Anthony.
Coming up on this week's edition of the Escape Pod Cast.
Matchmaking, make us a match.
Find an opponent, but there's a big catch.
Matchmaking, look through the guilds.
And get us some droid brains too.
I thought we talked about you singing last week.
Well, you were singing along too. Well, and low-hanging fruit jokes are our specialty.
Anyway, matchmaking in Territory Wars is overhauled, and for the big boys, it is huge.
Relic 9 materials have hit the game, and some wallets.
Capital Gains is looking to ease the gear crunch.
The State of the Galaxy brings us their multi-tiered plan.
Caden Skywalker of United Without Limits and Planet Coruscant joins us this week.
He proposes trying to send a message to Capital Games this month.
But will it work? And are there other ways?
We'll get into that as well.
The latest emotional tribute episode of Heli and the Noob re-airs this week.
And Patreon's Choice plus more on the bridge.
All this and breaking news as and if it happens.
Right here on the Escape Pod Cast.
The Escape Pod Cast News.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Escape Podcast. Neil, take it away.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Escape Podcast. I'm your host, the Nev, and as always, I'm joined by my hetero life partner, Paul. Paul, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. It is a great day for a new episode of the Escape Podcast. I'm excited for this weekend, a lot of relaxation for me. And also, before we begin, the Rabbitohs are taking on the Panthers in the Australian Rugby Championship.
Aussie rules football.
It's Aussie rules football? I thought it was rugby.
Oh, right. Is it rugby?
I thought it was rugby. But Scotty McLaren is a huge Rabbitohs fan, and at least I am Team Rabbitohs, which will be taking place, I believe, at 3 a.m. Central Time tonight. So looking forward to that. It has been a very, very busy week in content creator world because Territory Wars and the matchmaking has been redone. And
no, it's not been redone. They've done with all they've done is not entirely dissimilar to what they did with GAC. What they've done is they've rebooted the divisions. The matchmaking is still screwed up.
Well, they said that it's matchmaking that has been redone.
Did they?
Yeah.
Did they say that in the past? I thought they just. I must go back and have a closer look. I could have swore that it was just the extra. They created extra divisions and redivvied up the divisions so that obviously those tippy top divisions were getting Relic 9, and that the algorithm and the matchmaking was going to remain the same. I didn't realize that they said that they'd adjusted the matchmaking.
Yeah, well, let's get into what they call the State of the Gearlaxy, September 2021. We have some exciting news. There are several important changes coming to Galaxy of Heroes we want to tell you about. Some of the changes outlined below are in today's update, and others will come in the near future. Today's update brings a new matchmaking system to Territory Wars, adds a set of new rewards, and introduces Relic 9. This also sets the stage for big changes to gear in Galaxy of Heroes. There's a ton to talk about, so let's dive in. Their words. Territory War changes. The main objective is to provide a better and more competitive experience in Territory Wars. They first talked about division changes. It's been a while since we have updated the Territory War divisions, and it's getting a bit crowded at the top end of divisions as we release more and more ways to increase your GP. We have expanded upper divisions with 8 new divisions to account for the growing GP of guilds. These higher divisions will require more total defenses and have several new rewards. My gosh, did they include more defenses? All right. So, Division 23 is 380 million and up. And it goes by 20s, essentially. 360, 340, 320, 300. And I'm looking to see where the first change in that is. So there's 200 mil, and then it drops to 170, 140. And then they go back to 20. 20 mil, 10, 100 mil, 80, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, and below. Note, counts are expressed as win-loss where applicable when they're talking about the gearbox. You only get a core gearbox if you win, Neil. And that's Division 8, which is 60 mil and up. Relic 7 material has been added. You only get it if you win.
Yeah.
Relic 8 material, the arrow magnifiers, 280 mil and up, automatically get 1. Otherwise, you have to win in order to get them. And Relic 9 material has been added. And we'll get into Relic 9 here in a moment. But Relic 9, if you come in at 300 mil to 320, you have to win to get a piece. 320, you have to win, or you can lose and get 1 piece all the way up through the top. Otherwise, 320 gets 2, 340 gets 3, 360 gets 4, and 380 and above will get 5 if they win. Mm-hmm. Once again, that people talk about the power creep in the game, Neil. This is a power rocket ship for any of those guilds that are 380, 360, 340, 320. Because they win, they're getting double, triple, quadruple, quintuple the amount that the losing team gets. I mean, they're just going to put a Relic 9 on somebody, and they're going to skyrocket away. So this is where I think that Galaxy of Heroes really has kind of displaced themselves, because yes, I want people to be rewarded for winning, but at the expense of going much farther than anybody else. It gets worrying, because then they end up, we see them in GAC, we see them in other modes, in arena and fleet arena. It just continually makes it moves the goalposts farther than it needs to be, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, none of this would be a problem if it worked for the GLs.
And that's another thing that's really worrying.
None of this would be an issue were it not for GLs and the nerfing of the off-meta counters. Because if the off-meta counters still exist, people would look at this, they'd be matched in territory wars against, let's say hypothetically they get matched against someone and that team's got 30 more GLs than them, right? let's just for arguments, a spread of 30 more GLs across the board. The territory war officers would be like, right, okay, they've got 30 more than us, so we need 30 off-meta counters to match on top of the GLs as well, so that we're kind of, even Stevens. Can't do that. You just can't do it. It just doesn't work unless, of course, everybody's got like massive, huge gas teams, because gas doesn't really seem to have been affected from an off-meta counter point of view. And there are a couple out there specific to very, very specific to certain GLs.
But they also chew up a B team. Like there's the A teams, the meta teams, but they basically pick apart another team, which if you're putting that a team that would counter, that the B team would normally counter in front, that off meta counter ain't going to be there when it's time, especially, Neil, when the top end guilds are placing 50 per zone.
Yeah.
You're placing, that means that everybody has to place 8, what we in our guild call an 8+2. 8 ground, 2 fleet. And that's every single person placing that. We're at 320.
Yeah, so is my guild. The guild I'm in, we're at 320.
Nice. We just barely got in there. We're at 320, and we're at 40. We're at 40 placements. What about you? What do you got?
Yeah, we were, 45 minutes until lock-in. We were 95k, so it was like everybody was fluffing their GP, just madly trying to fluff their GP. I fluffed my fleet 25k to take us over the line. I put reinforcements on. I put reinforcements on the Millennium Falcon, the Vulture Droid, my 3 GOs, my two of my GOs, and a couple of other ships to push me over to give me 25k and help push the guild over the 320. I was not fluffing. I'm not fluffing my squad. There's no way I was fluffing my squad. But I fluffed. But the thing is, we saw this, and we said that this was going to be a problem when they announced the nerfs in the first place. Everybody's attention was focused on GAC. Very few people, aside from us and a plethora of other content creators, also recognized at the time, hang on a minute, this is totally going to screw over territory wars. And that was before they increased the number of defense and offense that you would need. By increasing those numbers, it makes it just compounds the issue, because if you are up against a guild with more than 100 GLs than you, they can fill the front wall, and then their opponents do not physically have enough GLs to get past the front territory. It's just it's going to be physically impossible. And Discord is completely and utterly chocker with.
Let me pull this up.
Examples.
Yeah, in the GA Center server, Army Hutchings, our friend Hutch, posted his opponent has 49 Rey, 49 Slacker, 49 Luke, 48 Big Papa Pelps, 49 Kenobis, and 24 Lord Vaders. Do you have it pulled up and you want to tell them what Hutch has? Yeah. Go ahead. What does Hutch's group have?
Hutch's group has 29 Reys, 41 Slackers, 46 JMLs, 32 Cs, 35 JMKs, and 6 Lord Vaders. So it's just, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
All they have to do is put every single GL down, don't they, Neil?
Yeah, they put every single GL down, and their opponents will not make it through the front. It's as simple as that. It's going to create stalemates. Ooh, curious. What happened? What you might know this. What happens in the event of a draw?
Both teams lose.
So both teams get classed as a loss.
Yes.
So the rewards don't get split. Both teams would get the bottom rewards.
Yes. At least that, if my memory serves correct, both teams get the lost boxes because it's the draw.
Okay. So yeah, there's going to be and you'll get that one relic 9 piece. And how many pieces do you need in order to actually take a relic 8 or a relic 9?
20.
Do you know? So after 2 years of losing, after just shy of 2 years of losing.
No, you get 4 a month. You get 4 a month, so 5 months.
You get 4 a month.
You get 4 territory wars per month.
Oh God, sorry, I'm getting territory battles and territory wars mixed up. Yeah, sorry. Yes, yeah. So still not a lot, though, is it? When you think about it. It's not a stretch to say that it is farcical, and if that is indeed the matchmaking, then it needs to be addressed. I mean, can I read the matchmaking?
Yep, go right ahead.
Okay, so on the post, matchmaking. With a greater incentive placed on victory, it is important that we address matchmaking and ensure guilds are paired against fair opponents. I'm adding air quotes there.
Thank you for our audio only podcast.
For the audio only, I'm adding fair, even though the air quotes aren't there, because fair is clearly a very, 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 very subjective term that CG are using here. Today's update reworks the matchmaking system in territory wars to more accurately calculate the amount of power.
Can you get through this in one thing?
Sorry, I couldn't get to the end of that. I couldn't get to the end of that sentence without laughing. I'll try again. Today's update reworks. I'm not BSing you.
You're not trying to laugh. This is not a bit.
This is what it actually says on the forum. Today's update reworks the matchmaking system in territory wars to more accurately calculate the amount of power a guild is bringing to the holo table. Despite what we just read to you about the 49, 49, 49, 49s, 24s versus the 40-something, 30-something, 30-something, 20-something, single something. 4. This system better, our goal with these changes is to create a more fair and balanced experience long term. This system better accounts for guilds that bring a smaller number of powerful players. No, it doesn't. Additionally, the system takes loss streaks into account during matchmaking. You might also notice that cross-divisional matchups can now occur to help smooth the transitions between divisions. Note that the number of defenses needed is determined by the lower division's guild, but each guild prize is determined by its own specific division. You see, that is just golden, because if you've got 380 and you face somebody with, 420, they've got more powerful and more powerful squads, and they've got more squads, but it's going to be 4 on the 380's terms. And when they beat you, which they will, they'll still get the rewards as if they fought in their division, not your division. Okay, while these changes are intended to have immediate effects, you think, we also expect this to be the starting point for a greater ability to fine-tune the system in the future. Fine-tune isn't a term I'd use. Complete overhaul would be, a more appropriate term to use there. We will be monitoring the impact of these changes very closely and will likely make adjustments in the future.
You better.
Couple of issues there with the words used. Fair being one of them. I don't think fair should have been used. You get a lot of that these days. People throw that term around willy-nilly like it has some objective meaning. It doesn't. I do take issue with the greater ability to, you see, you need to overhaul it and get it close to working before you can fine-tune. This needs an overhaul before they can fine-tune. You can't fine-tune something that needs a major overhaul. That would be like, taking your car into a garage with no engine and saying, can you give it a tune-up? And the mechanic looking at your car going, tune-up what? You've got no engine. It's like, well, yeah, but, it's still got four wheels. It's still got windows. They go up and down. The windscreen wipers still work. It's like, yeah, but you got no engine. Fine-tune, yeah. So, sorry, not sorry. CG, this one is a mess. There are ways that it can be rectified, I'm sure. I'm not suggesting for a second that everybody just piles on and go, this is crap. We need to be constructive. What I think one of the first things I would say is don't put people that are 380 against, the cross-divisional thing. You need to bin that straight away. You've got to bin that straight away. You cannot put a guild that is 380 mil GP against someone that's 420 mil GP. Okay. You've made the divisions, you've created this. If the same top guilds have to keep fighting each other over and over again because they're the only ones close to each other, then so be it. You created these divisions the way that they are. If you're not going to appropriately handicap the higher GP guild, then you're just going to have to keep putting the same top-end guilds against each other over and over and over and over and over and over again. I don't think they're going to be that fussed because they're going to be the closest matched divisions, the closest matched guilds out there, and it'll go backwards and forwards, and it's going to be less of an issue for lower down guilds. But I do think that that's one thing that you need to get rid of straight away. That is something that you need to change. You cannot have a higher division fighting against a lower division on the terms of the lower division, thus giving a non-competitive, I'm not going to say the word fair, a non-competitive advantage to the higher GP team, because they're going to have more squads, they're going to have more powerful squads, and they're going to be rewarded at their division tier. You're making it even. If you're going to keep it, then if you're going to put a higher guild against a lower guild, then you need to give that lower guild the incentive to want to beat the higher guild by giving them the higher reward. It should be the other way around. It really, really should. So that's something that definitely needs to be squared away. And the matchmaking, what did you do? I'd really, really like to know what you did, because whatever it is you did, it didn't work. Because you've got guilds getting matched against guilds, and we're not talking about 5, 10, 15 GL difference. We're talking
50
like
GL difference,
40, 50 GL difference. And if your front territories are taking 50 GLs, it's an entire territory extra of GLs for the team with the more GLs. How is that even close to fair?
Yeah.
It's not.
Quickly, Cascade, thank you for the 100 bits and also the gift sub to our good friend Al Bundy. He'll tell you about his football escapades in high school, by the way. Neil doesn't get that joke. It's an American sitcom joke. But also, thank you, Sephironis, for the shiny nickel. And something I never thought I would see. Hellenix, our moderator and very, very good friend and creator of Hellion the Noob, has basically just thrown down the gauntlet that he's giving them until December 31st to get their act together, or he's out. I mean, this has really, really ticked off some of the diehards And the people that, and when I say diehard, I'm not talking about the Krakens. I'm not talking about the big spenders. I'm talking about the people that have defended this game day in and day out. We've already seen the departure of a lot of our friends. Ando, Fruit Ninja Mike, Lazy Turtle. It's Geek Girl. Yes, you've got the list better than me.
Nooch. It's the number of content creators that have dropped off the map. It's unbelievable. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of them have just gone more casual. So, I mean, people like Yeti and DB, that they haven't quit the game altogether, but they've realized that trying to remain ultra competitive, there's just too much stress, and they weren't enjoying. So they've literally rolled it all the way back, where it's just, I'm just going to play casual and go for Kyber. I'm not going to try and be the best and compete with it, because matchmaking wasn't good for them. They weren't having fun, and so but this territory wars thing. Here's the thing: I've never been big on territory wars. Never, ever, ever. I've always been in guilds where territory wars has been ultra casual. So territory wars was always the casual mode, where it didn't really matter if you did or didn't participate, and if you did, great, and if you didn't, wasn't an issue. Everybody was always, territory wars is the casual side of the guild, and territory battles is the serious side, because we want the Tam War shards, and we want the good. So, and that's the way it was. But now, what is going to happen is this is going to fracture, and this is just going to destroy guilds. This is going to destroy guilds, because if you're in a guild that isn't doing Crankcore, and the majority of the people in your guild can't reach box 6 in Conquest, and now all of a sudden Relic 8 materials and Relic 9 materials are getting thrown into territory wars, it's nuts. That they're putting the rewards in all the wrong places. It's like nobody really cares about these modes anymore. How do we make them care? Oh, let's put Relic 8 and Relic 9 materials in. It's like, well, all that's going to do is split up the guilds. So if you've got a 50-50 split of people that do care and don't care, what it's going to do is it's just going to destroy a bunch of guilds, because people will be like, I want to take territory wars separately. I'm going to have to leave and go and join a guild that does. And then it's just,
let's pause right there. Let's take a break. On the other side of the break, we'll continue this conversation. This is huge, guys. I mean, this may be the breaking point for a lot of people, and we have somebody to talk about that coming up a little bit later on in the show as well. But right after these messages on the Patreon leaderboard, we will be back right here on the Escape Podcast.
HotBot in HotUtils is one of the most comprehensive tools for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
With integration into the super useful mod tool Grand Ivory, HotUtils can help you tackle some of the most difficult aspects of the game.
Not sure how to mod your roster for a certain game mode?
Use one of the many filters that automatically assigns the right mods to the right character in accordance with your guild needs.
Now with the digital features that can assist you and your guild officers in territory battles and territory wars, HotUtils is an amazing value.
And don't forget the useful tools for yourself in Grand Arena, like the in-depth and customizable compare feature.
Got multiple accounts like Neil, but not the time to remod them all?
With this one-stop utility, you can switch between your alts and never miss a mod upgrade or a mod switch before locking into GAC or territory wars.
Starting at just $5 a month, you don't want to miss out on these great tools.
HotUtils is the new official remodding service for the Escape Podcast.
Visit HotUtils.com to learn more. That's HotUtils.com. And go ahead and spice up your Galaxy of Heroes experience.
Padawans, Be sure to support the shows brought to you on the Escape Podcast Twitch and YouTube channel by becoming a Patreon. For as little as $2 a month, you can support us and get a little extra for yourself. With tiered rewards, including access to Shitty Bill's Arena Tracking Bot, after-show access, inclusion in the GA Center leaderboards, behind-the-scenes access, and much more. There is something for everyone on our Discord server. Head on over to Patreon, that is patreon.com/The Escape Pod, and sign up today. Thank you for supporting and listening to the Escape Podcast.
Hello, friends. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and I approve this message and am compensated for signups for this service.
The world's largest audiobook library is at your fingertips, and the Escape Podcastaways want you to try it for free. Head on over to escapepodcastaways.com and click the Going Nerdy offer button to claim a free audiobook and 2 Audible originals. Cancel anytime, and it's absolutely free to sign up. Check out Audible and support the Escape Podcastaways, all for free. See Audible website for details. Restrictions may apply.
Hey there, listeners. Merchandise specialist Critty K here. Do you enjoy the Escape Pod and want to support the channel and get something a little extra for yourself as well? Head on over to tpublic.com/user/The Escape Podcast and grab a Team Neil, Team Paul, Critty Play, or many other fun Padawan designs on your choice of shirt, cup, sticker, mask, or even a magnet. And be sure to check out the Mrs. Anthony Shirts channel on the Escape Podcast Discord and get the latest info on the other designs I make as well. Sometimes there's even a sale going on, so it is smart to stop on by. Thank you for supporting the Escape Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Patreon leaderboard. You know me, I'm Paul Anthony, and I bring to you, just like we do on GA Center, airing on the Escape Podcast channel with the Nev and Ranger, covering nearly 60 of your favorite community-focused content creators. We bring to you the Patreon leaderboard, where if you're not a streamer and would like to be on this leaderboard on GA Center or here, we would love to see you right here. Just sign up at patreon.com/The Escape Pod at the Kyber Combatant level or higher and get on the Patreon leaderboard. Let's take a look at what happened this week. D goes 1 and 2, 3,796 banners. He got 6 wins, 0 losses, and 2 holds. D did a little bit better than he normally does, so we're excited for him on this one. All right, let's take a look at the next competitor. The next competitor is Dark Helmet. Dark Helmet goes 2 and 1 with 6,998 banners. 31 wins, 7 losses, 5 holds. Not bad. Dr. JoJo is a perennial 3 and 0, 7,863 banners, 36 wins, 4 losses, 9 holds. He reports that 3 full clears for me prevented the full clear on all 3 matches. Faced the same guy in the finals now 2 weeks in a row. Decided to place the same front wall that lured out his C and Slacker last time, but then placed only 3 Galactic Legends on the back wall. Or placed all 3 Galactic Legends on the back wall, and it worked. At least after he failed 4 times last week against his executor, he beat it this time. Congratulations to your opponent on that one, Dr. JoJo. 4 Strong goes 1 and 2, 4,644 banners, 19 up, 2 down, and 4 holds. Hot Sauce, who's not a streamer, but since he's not a streamer, he's eligible to be on this because he's a Patreon, and we thank you, Hot Sauce, for that. 2 and 1, 8,138 banners, the most for this week, but only 25 wins, 8 losses, and 7 holds. It is tough in that upper division. And then finally, me. 3 and 0, 7,930 banners. I beat Dr. JoJo and I went 3 and 0. Let's look at this more. 36 wins, 0 losses, 1 hold. Ladies and gentlemen, I got myself my first ever triple crown. So, apparently signs of the apocalypse are upon us. So please be careful out there. Let's take a look at the boards. Right now, Dr. JoJo, of course, is on top because he's 6-0. Banners decide second through fourth place. Hot Sauce, Dark Helmet, and then me. But I'm right behind Dark Helmet, so we'll see what this next week brings. 4 Strong and D rounded out at 2 and 4 under 10K banners each. But you know what? They're going to have a lot of fun battling each other to keep each other out of the basement. We'll see what happens there. That does it for the Patreon leaderboard, courtesy of the Escape Podcast Patreons. We hope that you might be able to join us next time. Now is the perfect time to sign up, get in next month's leaderboards, and become a Patreon and get all the benefits that you hear about during the breaks. We'll see you guys next time. Be nice to each other, damn it.
We want you. Join the GAC Chain Gang today. This is the commander of the 506 Procrastination Battalion and the leader of the GAC Chain Gang. I am sending out a call to action for any SWGOH content creators on Twitch who would be willing to broadcast their GAC attack rounds alongside some of our best, including Mr. Jigabachi, Dr. Zeppers, Rico 1982, and the Bounty Honeys. What is the Chain Gang, you ask? We are an amazing group of content creators who are dedicated on streaming the Grand Arena Championship attack rounds on Twitch. The idea is to provide continuous content back-to-back from one streamer to the next and allow the viewers to enjoy more SWGOH content as well as enjoy the variety of streamers that are currently present in the group. If you are interested in joining the Chain Gang, please reach out to myself on Discord at AndyBees #7465, or you can send us a message on our Twitter page at ChainGAC. Join us today. We have your back.
The Escape Pod Cast.
And we're back. Thank you, Cascade, for the 100 bits during the commercial. For those who are watching live, yes, I did pass up the GA Center Patreon leaderboard because that was last week's. Patreons, you will get the correct one on the YouTube version, and also the audio version will hear the correct Patreon leaderboard. Sorry about that. Neil, you're putting your headphones back on. There we go. Neil.
I could.
Oh, you could still hear me. Okay.
I can still hear you.
You were saying some big bombshell things to me in the break. Do you want to?
Yeah. Well, we'll read the Relic 9. We'll read the Relic 9 stuff from the post, and then we'll get into that. So, Relic 9, as we mentioned above, Relic 9 is coming to Galaxy of Heroes later today. Relic 9 will require 2 new materials to craft: droid brains and Gyroda keypads. Droid brains will be exclusively available from Territory Wars for now, in brackets, and the Gyroda keypads can be crafted by Jawa Scavenger from existing gear. God knows what gear is going to be needed to craft that. I dread to think what gear is going to be needed to craft that.
Oh, I'll go look. I'll go look right now while you say what you said.
Yeah, or for the pricely sum of $150, you don't need to do any of that, and you can just get the gear straight away.
Yeah,
I know this because Rambam messaged me first thing this morning, as soon as the packs were available, to show me his shiny new Relic 9 Mace Windu.
And it still sucks.
Well, we don't know how much it sucks yet. I guess we'll find out. Here we go. So as part of these changes, we are also expanding the ability for players to get Relic 8 materials, as well as a series of upcoming changes on lower relics and gear. More on that below. Here's the kicker. We are adjusting the Relic 8 rewards in the challenge tier of the pit to provide more guild members with an increased supply of aero magnifiers. And what they did wasn't what would be the sensible thing to do, which would be to leave rank 1 and then 2 to 5 and then 6 to 10 the same and just increase the lower one. Well, that would have been the nice and the appropriate thing to do, in my opinion. What they've done is they've just made it from 1 to 40 the exact same rewards. So socialism comes to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. So you can be the hardest worker, and then you can have someone that's like, sod it, I'm only going to have one team of Relic 5s, and this guy does all the work, This guy does none of the work, and they get rewarded the exact same thing. That is objectively unfair. To be perfectly honest with you, what I said to Paul during the break was, I believe, in my opinion, I think that this is CG just taking corrective measures regarding the murking issue, because a lot of top-end competitors with very, very large accounts will just jump from guild to guild and they'll murk, which helps out those guilds that can't do the Crown Core just yet. They can't complete it just yet. But the benefit for the merc, if you've got a group of 3, 4, or 5 mercs going to a guild to help them out, everybody under 5 was just getting like 8, 5, 3, or 1. They don't care how little they're getting because they were getting nothing before. But the point of 4 or 5 mercs going to that guild was that they were guaranteed to get 11 or 10. So by reducing the amount of rewards to 7 from 1 to 40, it now makes merking pointless. Why, if you were a merc before, would you jump from guild to guild when you can just stay in your guild and get the exact same rewards? Putting in the extra work and putting in the extra effort does not get you any extra reward. It is, by definition, socialistic in merit. There's nothing. It doesn't matter how hard you work or how poorly you work, you're all getting the same reward. And I know that this has really, really annoyed a lot of people because they're the ones that are pushing themselves, pushing their rosters because they want to be in that top 5 and they want to be getting more aero magnifiers so that they can take their characters to relegate. What's the point? If everybody's getting 7, what's the point?
Yeah. So here's Sephirinus says, hard disagree. It's the same principle of simming the raids because we all get the exact same stuff, or wag tests, as I say to my guild when it comes to TB.
Because simming involves the exact same amount of work for everyone. You click the sim button. Yes, simming a raid, everybody gets the same reward, but the workload is identical for every single person. You click the sim button. This is completely and utterly different stuff because you still have to work at the raid in order to earn stuff.
Thank you.
So the hard workers that have worked their arse off to get the best squads, to get the most points, are going to be, supplementing all of the people.
They still get the better gearboxes, which, in my opinion, is more valuable anyway. But, by the way, to answer your question, it's gold stun guns, it's the gold stun gun salvage, the finisher piece, the gold furnaces, and the gold data pads that are turned into geared keypads. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and on the gear, I do believe you may be incorrect there. Is Ray Rock in the chat? Because Ray Rock has been conducting a Crankle raid experiment for the past several weeks. He was finishing top 10, and he had a theory that if you finished from 11th to 20th, you would get better gear rewards. If he's in the chat, he can confirm this, but basically he was posting it in my personal Discord, the Nev server, and he was doing screenshots, and he was indeed getting better gear rewards finishing outside the top 10 than finishing inside the top 10. So the benefit of finishing inside the top 10 was more aero magnifiers, but poorer gear. Finishing outside, less aero magnifiers, better gear.
Yeah. A quick thank you to Tilo Mad for the raid in the middle of that segment. Appreciate you very much. And Hutch says that's consistent with our guild results as well. We keep a channel for crankcore poo. I like that term. I'll take that term, Hutch.
Yeah, when I was, I wasn't getting top. I mean, my only analogy, I suppose, I could give was when I joined a guild that was lower, and I had awesome squads that would get me first, second, or third on the heroic Sith
rate. But that comes back to what I was talking about, is that they kind of need to help the lower end of the GP bracket get to where they are so they can feel like they have a fighting chance.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not suggesting, that those rewards. That I'm not suggesting that. I agree that the reward should have been increased, but those top 5, that's the elite of your guild. That's the creme de la creme. That's the best, and you reward the people that have spent the extra time and the extra effort and the extra money working on their rosters and working on their teams with just a smidgen, a little bit more. Just that little bit extra.
But they're doing that with 5 Relic 9 pieces compared to 1 Relic 9 piece for win or loss in this whole new territory thing, territory war thing.
Oh, yeah, territory wars is not Crankle,
right? But I'm just saying it's a very stark difference between within your guild and against other guilds. And in a way, if you don't get Kyber against other players personally, it just gets... I'm seeing, all the times that I didn't get the top spot in GAC, where I was getting 1 or an Omega material or absolutely nothing for coming in, 1 and 2. You get an Omega material, I think it is, and you get 1 if you go 2 and 1 in GAC. And so all these people are getting all these Zeta materials. Granted, I am now hoarding them in a way because I don't have anywhere I really want to put them. But all these people are getting all these things to increase their GP, and now they can go for these Relic 9 materials. The rich get richer. So it's socialism in raids and capitalism in territory wars and GAC.
It's meritocracy, not capitalism. It's meritocracy in territory wars. The people that do the best, because let's remember, it's meritocracy if it's an even match. It's not an even match. So it's neither at the moment. If the matchmaking did actually put 2 equal guilds against each other, then the to the spoils, to the spoils go, to the victor go the spoils. If it was an even match, what we're seeing at the moment are not even matchups. So it's nothing. It's just extremely lopsided to those that have got the GLs.
Well, get this. Get this as well. If what was in this article is true, if they are taking the if they're taking loss streak into effect, what stops alliances from essentially saying, okay, this guild has had a really, really bad run. Everybody but the guild leader, swap out so they can go and smash somebody that's on a loss streak. Where's the stop to that?
There's not. There are so many. There are so many ways that territory wars is just going to be not competitive. That it's not going to be fun. If something is competitive, it's still fun. I have lost 2 people in GAC where the match was really, really competitive, and I lost, but I still had fun. because I had fun trying to work out what my opponent's strategies were, what their tactics were, trying to put together the right team at the right time to beat my opponent. And, I lost by a few banners. But I still had fun doing it. Where's the fun in a territory war where your opponents have got 50 more GLs and they put them all in front of you and you've got nothing to get past them because you don't have the prerequisite number of GLs to get past them because CG nerfed the off meta. Not all of them, but they did nerf a lot of off meta counters. Perfect. I think about it this way. The slacker zombie cheese team that was doing over JMKs. If they hadn't nerfed that, a lot of people would be looking at it and going, all right, fine. If we see a JMK, we can use this tactic to get past the JMKs. Because it would then be used as a strategy and guilds would be aware and they'd be like, okay, the slacker zombie cheese team can still do JMKs. Let's not put our JMKs on defense. And that, that feeds into what strategies and tactics can be used in order to achieve the goal of victory for the guild. But because they keep nerfing effective counters to the strong GLs, it's screwing things up. The Imperial Troopers, think about it this way. If the Imperial Troopers with the Dark Trooper could still smash C and the slacker zombie could still smash JMK, I don't think people would be complaining so vociferously about this, because if your opponents had more Cs and more JMKs, that team's okay, we've got more Cs and we've got more JMKs, but are we going to put them on defense? No, because we can see our opponents have all got Imperial Troopers and we can see that our opponents have all got slackers with zombies. So are we going to put our Cs and our JMKs on defense? Bloody hell, no, we're not. We're going to save them for offense. So, but because they've nerfed those counters, it just means that a guild can go, right, okay, we can put all of our Cs on defense. We can put all of our JMKs on defense. It takes away, these counters that people discovered, these off-meta counters that people discovered, Yeah.
And you were also saying that GAC is pretty much the only thing keeping you in this game, isn't it?
Yeah, no. Right now, GAC is the only thing keeping me in this game. Here's the thing with Territory Wars. I'm in a guild that's 320 mil GP. They are going to expect me to try, and I will, because I'm very glad to be in that guild. Prior to this guild, I've always been in guilds where Territory Wars has just been casual because I've not really cared about it. But because my guild cares about Territory Wars, I care about Territory Wars. So I will endeavor to put my best foot forward and try as hard as I possibly can. And if Grundy decides that he's going to make a territory, one shot only, I'll just leave everybody else do it, because I'm not confident that I could always one shot something. But territory battles, different. I care more about GAC than I do any other mode of the game. Yeah. And if that got totally and utterly screwed over, forget it. I mean, and I know a lot of people have issues with the matchmaking. There's lots and lots of competitors. I mean, I cover so many. But the thing is, I cover competitive GAC people, content creators that do GAC competitively. So they'll mention in their reports that they're up against someone with 2 more GLs. But lo and behold, when the report comes out, guess who won? The person with 2, 3 GLs versus the 5 GLs, because just automatically having more GLs than your opponent doesn't make you better at GAC. GAC is PvP. It's more personalized. It involves tactics. It involves strategy. So it doesn't always, end up being a loss. But when you start amassing GLs in a guild where it's 50 competitors against 50 competitors, that's a different ball game. It's a different kettle of fish.
Let's go ahead and take a break. We have a little bit longer of a story time with Uncle Thad than we normally do, but it's a great one. Really, really good one. But on the other side of this break, Caden Skywalker from Planet Courscant and pretty much leader of United Without Limits, one of our former alliances that Yevon 4 has been in, is going to join us, and we're going to talk about all of that and more coming up after this break right here on the Escape Podcast.
HotBot and HotUtils is one of the most comprehensive tools for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
With HotUtils can help you tackle some of the most difficult aspects of the game.
Not sure how to mod your roster for a certain game mode?
Use one of the many filters that automatically assigns the right mods to the right character in accordance with your guild needs.
Now with the digital features that can assist you and your guild officers in territory battles and territory wars, HotUtils is an amazing value.
And don't forget the useful tools for yourself in Grand Arena, like the in-depth and customizable compare feature.
Got multiple accounts like Neil, but not the time to remod them all?
With this one-stop utility, you can switch between your alts and never miss a mod upgrade or a mod switch before locking into GAC or territory wars.
Starting at just $5 a month, you don't want to miss out on these great tools.
HotUtils is the new official remodding service for the Escape Podcast.
Visit HotUtils.com to learn more. That's HotUtils.com. And go ahead and spice up your Galaxy of Heroes experience.
Padawans, be sure to support the shows brought to you on the Escape Podcast Twitch and YouTube channel by becoming a Patreon. For as little as $2 a month, you can support us and get a little extra for yourself. With tiered rewards including access to Shitty Bill's Arena tracking bot, after-show access, inclusion in the GA Center leaderboards, behind-the-scenes access, and much more. There is something for everyone on our Discord server. Head on over to Patreon, that is patreon.com/The Escape Pod, and sign up today. Thank you for supporting and listening to the Escape Podcast.
The Escape Pod, cast for kids. It's really cool.
Hello there, Padawans, and welcome back to Storytime with Uncle Thad and the Escape Podcast for kids. Today we are going back to the beginning. It's a time of great war. Two fierce foes fight for control of the galaxy. While these opposing forces face each other in battle, the galaxy hangs in the balance. Today's protagonist lives on a dustball planet world in the Outer Rim. Lonely and longing for more, they look to the future and feel like something great is about to stumble into their lives. That's right, my friends. Today we are going to talk about everyone's favorite Skywalker, Scavenger Rey, and where she fits in the actual canon. Wait, did you think I was going to talk about someone else? Anyways, Rey Skywalker was a human female and the granddaughter of Sheev Palpatine. Now, to truly understand Rey's place in the story, we have to understand Rey's family history. Rey wasn't actually a Skywalker. She was a Palpatine. Her father was a bioengineered clone of the former Sith Lord, which really doesn't actually make Rey a Palpatine either. At best, she is the byproduct of a failed experiment. Like, have you ever tried to grow penicillin by letting an orange peel get moldy, only to have that mold leave the lab, marry a junk trader, and eventually have a Force-sensitive daughter? I mean, if I had $1 for every time that happened to me. But I digress. Since Rey's father doesn't have a name, let's call him Tim. It's unclear whether Tim was created on Exegol or some other location. Tantus, Jakku, and other planets all had cloning facilities, so it's possible he could have come from one of those. But it's likely that he was created on Exegol because that is presumably where Snoke was also created. And since they're the same type of clone, it just kind of makes sense. I mean, as much sense as you can make from this storyline. What we do know is that Tim and Palps didn't exactly get along. Some say it was because the clone was not force sensitive, like the Sith Lord template he was created from. I like to think that Tim was a rebellious teenager. He liked to disobey curfew and stay out racing swoop bikes. Papa Palps would say,
"You should avoid those things and focus on taking over the family business."
And Tim would respond,
"You can't control me, old man. Those are your dreams, not mine."
Yeah, Tim was a rebel. And we all know how Palpatine feels about rebels. But one way or another, we know that Tim and Palps went their separate ways. Sometime between leaving his daddy's lab and the year 15 BBY, Tim met Rey's mother. I'll call her Thelma. Tim and Thelma became successful junk traders. They even went into business with their nerdy but lovable friend, Uncle Plutt. Funny side note, when Rey was just a baby, she couldn't say the word uncle, so she called him Unkar. It was adorable. Regardless, Rey eventually called Jakku her home. One day, when her parents were out buying blue milk from the space store, they were murdered by an assassin for some reason, and I think eaten by a giant space snake. I'm not really sure. This part of Rey's story gets a little fuzzy. But without her parents, Rey decided to stay on Jakku. And why wouldn't she? Everybody wants to go to Jakku. And while there are gaps and holes and some vagaries and some generally problematic elements with Rey's story, Jakku is essentially where we see Scavenger Rey in the Star Wars mobile game, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. And now that we've taken a look at the 100% real, unembellished backstory, let's take a look at Rey's kit and see where she fits in SWGOH. Rey Scavengers loved to hit people with sticks, so her first ability makes total sense, especially hitting people with metal sticks. That was kind of like her bread and butter. And if you've ever been hit with a metal stick, then you know that it's unlikely that your retaliatory aim will be very accurate. So for Rey to gain foresight after an attack makes perfect sense. Her first special ability is like less of an attack and more of science. Now let me drop some science on you here, right? A long metal shaft can be used to pry, poke, prod, push, pulverize, and really do a lot of stuff with. So the longer the stick, the more leverage you have. So while this special ability is really, again, just really a scavenger trick, I mean, it can deal damage if someone accidentally gets in the way. Now, her second ability, Flurry of Blows, is kind of awesome, right? And it really highlights what Rey was like or able to do on Jakku. Guys, there was nothing on Jakku, like nothing. They only had one Sirius XM satellite station, and it was Howard Stern, all day, every day. And that got old, right? No TV, no real radio stations, no board games. Rey didn't have much to do. So she took the staff that she had and twirled it around like a lonely kid in, an empty garage. Now, Rey's second ability, Force Strikes, is one I really love about Rey, and I think it's a really cool ability, and it shows just how unique and real to life hitting someone with a giant metal staff is. If Rey lands her attack on her opponent, they become dazed for 2 turns. Now, I'm not sure how many times you've been hit with a metal staff, but just trust me on this one. You're gonna be left dazed for at least 2 turns, maybe longer. Just saying, take my word for it. Well, that's all for me this week. Tune in next week for more story time with Uncle Thad on the Escape Podcast for Kids. Hello friends, this is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and I approve this message. and am compensated for signups for this service.
The world's largest audiobook library is at your fingertips, and the Escape Podcastaways want you to try it for free. Head on over to escapepodcastaways.com and click the Going Nerdy offer button to claim a free audiobook and 2 Audible originals. Cancel anytime, and it's absolutely free to sign up. Check out Audible and support the Escape Podcastaways. All for free. See Audible website for details. Restrictions may apply.
Hey there, listeners. Merchandise specialist Critty K here. Do you enjoy the Escape Pod and want to support the channel and get something a little extra for yourself as well? Head on over to tpublic.com/user/theescapepodcast and grab a Team Neil, Team Paul, Critty Play, or many other fun Padawan designs on your choice of shirt, cup, sticker, mask, or even a magnet. And be sure to check out the Mrs. Anthony Shirts channel on the Escape Podcast Discord and get the latest info on the other designs I make as well. Sometimes there's even a sale going on, so it is smart to stop on by. Thank you for supporting the Escape Podcast.
Receiving incoming transmission. Receiving incoming transmission. Receiving incoming transmission.
I thought you were going to start, Neil. Welcome back to the Escape Podcast.
You started the last 2 segments.
And then I threw to you. I was just giving you the point. Don't worry about it. So, since I'm the master of ceremonies, it is my duty and honor and pleasure to introduce this next guest. They are one of the principal members of United Without Limits, a amazing alliance of guilds. They are also one of the creators of Planet Courscant and administrators of such a site. It is a very, very pleasure to call them a friend, even though once in a while we have disagreed here and there. But he's also a very, very good friend of a lot of the people who make this show possible, including a close personal friend of Hellenix. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Caden Skywalker. How are you, Caden?
Doing just fine, and the honor is really mine to be here. I've watched your show. I've known you guys now for, I guess it's a couple years in the game, and I appreciate the chance to be on tonight.
Yeah. Really quick, Dark Helmet, Army Hutchings both subscribing, and then Dark Helmet giving out 5 subs. Thank you very much for the gift subs to the channel. Your guys' support of the show makes this show possible, so thank you. No, dude, it's like when we met and, we were both in different positions of power within UWoL. It was an absolute blast. Of course, we didn't see eye to eye on a few things. We've gone independent since, but we still send people your way. You know that for a fact.
Yeah, we do.
So.
And you're never really independent. I mean, we're all linked into each other in this game. So we're all friends still. So it's good.
Thank you, Hellenix, for the 200 bits. Caden, why don't you tell us about your Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes experience as a player itself? How long have you been playing? What's your GP? And are you of any sort of aquatic nature?
Okay, so I'm a day one player. I accidentally found the game day one. This is pretty much, I think it's the second video game I've really ever played. About 7.8 million GP. I think I've got 5 GLs now. Pretty robust roster. I've been in high-end guilds. I started my own guild. I still lead that guild, and I'm a leader of a pretty aggressive guild called UWoL Corellia. Love the game, love the guild, love the alliance, really love the player base and the community. And the community is why I'm here, still in the game.
Yeah, I spent a short period of time with one of my alts in one of the UWoL, not my main account, but one of my alts when I was first starting my alt, and I was doing content with it, and UWoL graciously let me join so that I could speedily do some fun stuff with that account while it was, so weak. I think it was a 1 mil GP account, but it did have relic geos in it, and your alliance was kind enough to let it in one guild, despite protestations from certain people, and the guild leader just basically turned around to them and went, "Are you getting watch shards?" "No, he is. That's why he's in the guild." And that was it. That was my sole purpose of being in the guild, getting watch shards, because
we still have that going on.
Yeah.
So on Plant Courscant, now we're going to preface this by saying that, as we've already said, Caden and I don't actually see eye to eye on everything, but we wanted to bring Caden on to talk about his attempt, and maybe it'll work this time, of something in response to this past State of the Galaxy. Now, let's start off with, why are you upset at this latest State of the Galaxy?
So I was upset before the State of the Galaxy. The State of the Galaxy just kind of took me over the top. If anyone's ever been through a divorce or anything of that sort, it's never one thing. It's a lot of things that lead up to that point. One of the things that's been the most problematic to me is the impact the game has had on guilds in the last year. To me, the guild is sacred. And I think CG has put a lot of pressure on guilds, a lot of pressure on the people that lead guilds and members to succeed in ways that are not necessarily healthy for them, from a financial perspective, from a time perspective, and otherwise. And that's really, I think, what pushed me to say, if you love this game, by all means necessary, keep spending on it, keep supporting it. If you feel like the game is imposing on you in ways that you don't like, then you need to use your money to say, please stop that and get CG to change. So that's why.
And so what exactly are you calling upon for people to do?
So I'm asking for you to think about consciously, do you like the changes that have happened in the game in the last, let's call it 10 months? Is it something that gives you more fun? Does it give you more enjoyment? Because if it does, then by all means support it. But if you feel like this is a game that you've invested 6 years in, for example, in my case, and the game is not giving you more fun and not giving you more enjoyment, then stop spending on it. Send the product maker a message that the gaming environment, one, needs to respect people's time. It needs to, and it really needs to focus on them having fun. And I think we've lost sight of that in the last 10 months to a great degree. That's just
where do you feel that we've lost sight?
So it started with CPIT 1. CPIT 1 was possibly the worst gaming experience that I can ever imagine participating in. I can't imagine anyone thinking through that, hey, everyone, let's get online. Let's do it at the same time, 4 times in the next 2 days. And we're going to run these teams over and over again and hold damage. And oh, by the way, use 2 devices at the same time. And then all of a sudden we're going to commit damage and we're going to report it on spreadsheets and on bots and on this. It was just a fiasco. I would distinctly remember my 9-year-old son saying, I hate that game. That's what he said to me. And he said, because you're not spending time with me, you're doing other things. So the CPIT 1.0 experience to me was never something that should have gotten out of the lab. My guild did it. I know every other guild, a lot of big guilds did it. But was it something that you enjoyed? Can anyone say they enjoyed that? And I think CG should have known that when they released it. They fixed it. Obviously, they fixed it. They changed it.
I was going to say, so they did respond to that. So wasn't that a positive in your book that they did respond to it, that they did make that change?
Never should have been released.
No, I've got to agree with Caden, just because it's like, just get it out there. If it doesn't work, we'll deal with it later and we'll fix it. It's like, no, you give your customers a complete product. Yeah, sure, there might be bugs with certain, there might be a few bugs around the edges, but you shouldn't be releasing something that is fundamentally broken. And it was released broken. We've had it on several occasions, and I would agree with Caden that it shouldn't have been released in the dilapidated state that it was released. And giving credit to them for fixing something, it's like, should you really be giving credit to someone for fixing something that was already broken? It's like if you bought a brand new car and it was broken and they fixed it for you a week later, would you be like, oh, thank you so much for fixing it? It's like, why the hell did you sell the damn thing broken to me in the first place? You're not going to thank the person for fixing you something that they gave you that was broken. So I'm kind of like, on that occasion, I wouldn't have given... I'll give CG credit when credit is due, but on that one, I've got to agree with Caden. It shouldn't have been released. It shouldn't have been implemented. It shouldn't have been implemented the way that it was, because there were still major issues. And they just get it out there and we'll deal with the fallout if the fallout happens. And it does. It always does.
Yeah. So that was the first thing. So if you look at the course of the year, then we got new GLs. We got, or maybe the new GLs were last year. I think Vader released this year? The upgrade to Vader was that?
That was last year.
That was last year. That was last year. That was part of the
that was probably the most exciting thing that had happened in the game in a long time was Vader. And then we move through the year. We get new GLs. We get JMK. JMK was awesome. People were really excited about him. But then all of a sudden we see the nerf to Vader. And I understand that they have to change characters sometimes, but I don't believe the reasons that they gave to change it. Vader was released after Rey, and he was released after Kylo, and they had to know that he was going to kill GLs when he was released. So the change really, to me, was an affront to the community, because it was the thing that the people in the game were most excited about. I had so many guildmates and so many people on so many different servers that loved playing with Vader. They loved theory crafting with Vader, and these teams, they took that away. And I understand that you have new characters and you have new tunes, but you kind of have to read your audience. People quit the game over that. And it wasn't just a few. It was a lot of very enthusiastic players that stopped their arena climbs. They stopped spending money. They left the game, and it left holes in my guild. It left holes in other guilds. So to me, that was another challenge. And I still don't know how that whole situation is going to shake out. I do know that when I do territory battles now, that I'm spending 30 minutes on killing Shock TE or trying to kill Barris in DSTP, things like that. They really hurt the player base by shrinking.
Don't get me started on the Dark Side TB with Shock T being she was listed as a tank. Did you know that she is listed as a tank inside the list of things, the specialties?
Yes. I saw that. I saw it. It's been nuts. I mean, it was absolutely nuts. The impact on our guild income, it killed us in wave one. I'm sorry, in phase one with that special mission. It hurt a lot of people in phase four as well. In the Dooku mission. So this is probably a little bit of a rabbit trail, but I would like to see CG figure out a way to not take the joy out of characters that people spend a lot of time investing in emotionally, financially, and time-wise in the game. That's getting harmful. So let's fast forward to Executor and JMK Cat. So in the last 3 months, we've seen Conquest emerge. Last maybe 4 months, Conquest emerged. It became a huge time sink. Every day, I'm trying to spend time to do Conquests. Okay, I get up. Oh, I've got to spend my energy. Are my characters back in help? I do Conquest. I do Conquest. I do Conquest. I do Conquest. And we all do that. That's not a healthy behavior. And it goes on all day. And if you don't do it, then you're going to be hurting. You're going to miss out on a character like Cat. It's going to tank your arena rank, and it's going to make your arena climbs really, really painful. I get it. There needs to be some elite content in the game that has limited access, but we've already started creeping up in time with CPID and GAC and with TV and TW. People are spending 5 or 6 hours a day in the game, and they feel like they have to do that to make their guild successful, for them to succeed. And it just got unhealthy to me. And it's something that I really would like to see them alleviate. So there was pain created in arena around the situation. Executor, that's a whole nother animal, right? So I spent money on Executor to get an Executor because I really knew it was going to be important. I knew that I needed to do it. Now I'm stuck in these 7-star Executor battles that I don't even want to do. And I'm like, why did I spend money on this thing that's extremely painful to play every day? So to me, something's happened where it's just the gaming experience in the last few months. It just got frustrating. It wasn't necessarily fun to play these teams anymore. Even the ones that I'm spending money on, an Executor is not fun to play. Okay, now fast forward to the release. So that's where I was mentally when this release came. And the release came out, and the thing that hit me the most was guilds that are below 300 million are not going to get R9 mats. And that to me is an affront to a lot of players in this game that have spent money, that have supported the community, that have bought the product, play every single day, and they're not getting what everyone else is getting. And I just don't like
that. Means 6 mil average guilds are not getting them. 6 million.
Yes. And there are a lot of players in those smaller guilds who are there because they love the people in those guilds. They've been in them for 5-6 years. I run one that's 270 million. The guys there have been there for 4 or 5 years. They like it there. They don't want to leave, but they're going to have to now to progress in the game and to keep their arena ranks and to get access to new tombs. That doesn't make players feel good. It doesn't make guild officers feel good. It doesn't make guild leaders feel good. And when that happens, the guild leader quits. It's a cascading effect of the game of people leaving, and that's money for CG. I just don't understand.
So apparently Darth Vader 2794 in the live Twitch chat is saying that they confirmed on Cubs' stream that they'll be addressing those issues with Conquest before Conquest 10. Well, right now we're in Conquest 9. If they address it before Conquest 10, then it needs to be done, or we're in Conquest 8. It needs to be done by Conquest 9. It's not fun. For one, I've lost the entire desire to go into Conquest mode. And you know, of all people, Caden, that I'm a PvE guy. I love PvE. And I don't even want to log into that. I get my refreshes, I do my battles, and I help my guild. But when it comes to PvE, I could give 2 rips.
Yeah. Right. No, I'm right with you there on Conquest. If I look at the energy and I see 80, I think, oh, sod it, I'll go do 4 battles. I'll go in, I'll put my main squad on, auto, battle, done, next one, auto, next one, switch to the CLS team, auto, done, next one, auto. There's my 4 battles, I'm out, I'm done. That's it, that's it. That's the limitation of my Conquest. It's like, I don't want to know what the feats are because I've got enough energy for 4 battles. What am I going to do with 4 battles? Nothing, except win 4 battles and get 80 burritos.
You can run your NS 4 time in Zone 2.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's yeah. Or I could do 4 bounty hunters.
Right.
And yeah, so yeah, I'm right with you there.
So what am I asking? I want to see people spend money. If you like this and this is fun for you, spend your money. If you have an issue with this, put your wallet back in your pocket, please. Get on the forums. Make sure that CG understands what's going on with you as a player and with the game that you love. Because otherwise, we're going to keep going down this path for another year, and I don't know that many people will support it, and that's sad because we all love this game. we all have invested in it. It's a labor of love that we continue and want to support.
But
it's just hard to see it go.
It hasn't worked in the past. Our call for people to return to Hoth didn't do anything. We've seen these sort of things in the past, and I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm not saying that I agree with you. I am trying to play the devil's advocate in this situation, Caden. What the heck do you hope to, what makes you think your call is going to be the one that does anything?
Because honestly, my call isn't about today. My call is a permanent decision that when they do things in the game, I stop spending. Period. And I think that's how people need to treat the game. The fact that if it keeps up, stop spending, stop playing. It's that simple. I don't think it's this is not a one-time don't spend until next Friday thing to me. This is a lifestyle change for me. I can't do it anymore for them. Right? I play this game for fun. I obviously want them to make money so I can keep playing the game for fun. And I'm willing to spend money, but I'm not willing to spend money on something that's not fun and that's harming or it's not positive for me. Right? That's not something I should spend money on. And I think the community needs to think about that and embrace that when they're spending their money with CG. Is this something that's fun for you? Do it. Spend it. Fine. That makes sense. If it's not, don't.
No, I boycotts do work, but they tend to need a large mass of people in order for CG to set up. And the only time that I can recall it really, really working, it was with Territory Wars, actually. It was actually with Territory Wars. And it was back during the end of 2000. It was back during 2019 when they tried to implement a new format of Territory Wars where the community got to vote what characters got removed from Territory Wars. And about 90%, literally nobody played it. The voting was done by a small portion of the, by a very, very small fraction of the community. And before the characters that got voted out were voted out, everybody already knew which ones were going to get voted out. And it wasn't entire squads. It was the engine for every single decent squad, So everybody was like, well, I'm just not going to, we just won't participate in this territory war. I mean, I was in a guild at the time and everyone's like, yeah, we're just not doing this territory war. You can join if you want, but I think we had like 22 people. So, it was a fail. So on that occasion, so many people did not play. You've got to take into consideration though, but back then there was no GOTB, there was no conquest, there was no challenges. There were not twice as many modes in the game as there was back then. Territory Wars was the thing. It was the thing.
I just realized something, Neil.
So when nobody joined, they instantly came back the next Territory Wars because Carrie came out and said, yeah, we're not doing that again, like ever.
And I just realized something. If they're going to use joining of Territory Wars as the litmus, as the measuring stick, it is very worrisome because instead of us not joining Territory War to protest, we had everybody join so we could get our precious one even if we lose.
Yeah.
So where, if there's something in game other than our money, what is there now? That's the big question.
Well, I did while we were waiting to come back on. One of the things that I was talking to you about, Caden, was what happens when everybody joins but no one competes. So which would guarantee a tie. And I think you, Paul, said that both teams get classed as a loss, right?
Yeah.
maybe I don't think that the upper tier guilds are going to do something like that. I genuinely don't.
But
genuinely don't think
that's what they needed. That's what they did. The upper tier guild said, we're not joining this territory war, and that's what. But there was no Relic 9 materials on the block.
No, it was crappy. The reward, even back then, the rewards weren't the greatest. They weren't the best. And most of the Kraken and the Whale guilds were like, yeah, it's only going to cost me like $20 to get the gear that I get as a reward anyway. So I'll just buy the gear, which is why, so many people not doing that territory war immediately after that war was so effective, because there wasn't a massive loss for people to not do it. And if you remember, they came back the next one and said, okay, we won't do this again. But they did say, we'll do the other we'll give bonuses to various, because you remember they did the bonus for Mace Windu.
I love that.
But that's not taking something away. That's adding something that everyone can take advantage of. So maybe a movement that involved everybody joining, but no one competing, so that everybody gets exactly the same reward. Maybe something like that could work. I don't know. You'd have to, because the thing is, you can do something like that if you have the ear of guild leaders. You don't need to be able to speak to every single person in a 50 guild. You just need to be able to speak to the guild leader. It's the guild leaders. If the guild leader says, right, okay, what we're doing, everyone, is we're joining, we're dumping everything, but we're not attacking. We are not participating. So everybody's going to get the exact same amount of rewards as everybody else, regardless of where you are. Do not attack. There will be severe punishments. There will be no soup for you if you attack. Something like that could work. I don't know if you can get enough guild leaders involved in that, because you would have to organize it. You'd have to start up a Discord server. You'd have to get the word out. We want the guild leader for as many guilds as possible in this server to read this thing and then go back to their guild and say, look, we're not participating. We're going to join. They can set defenses if they want or not. Just dump a bunch of squads in, and then when it starts, nothing. Everybody leaves it. No participation. That would show up in CG's metrics. If nobody was doing it, it would be, if nobody was actually physically doing the territory wars and everyone was just getting, the even rewards across the board, CG would be like, okay, so we've done this. No one's playing it. They're just joining, and then they're all getting equal rewards. They're getting the same rewards for doing nothing. And that's the kicker. It's kind of us taking a leaf out of CG's book. They think they're doing something, and a lot of people are unhappy about it. So why not do the same thing that everybody in GAC does when they join and then don't do anything? They join, and then everything gets auto deployed, and then at the end of the week they get a bunch of free rewards for doing nothing. Everybody in the community could do exactly the same thing for territory wars. Join, dump your squads, and do nothing, and then sit back and take the rewards. Everybody takes the exact same rewards for the loss. Could it work? I don't know. It's just a suggestion.
It's a way to send a message, coordinated message. We've been talking about it a lot on the server. In some regard, the territory war changes for big guilds. I think the guild, it may be good, right, for big TW guilds. It may prevent some of the sandbagging. There's some positive things to it. But I just think this, excluding guilds, excluding players from getting materials they need, that's just wrong. I mean, it's just, and they should know that by now. And I really want to send a message to them that should change. Because me, I probably wouldn't coordinate the TW wins. I would go after them on the forums. I'd go after the ratings on the stores, things like that. I think that's where you start to influence them a little bit more, because that's when you could send complaints, things like that, get attention at big companies. I'm not so sure that TW would, but maybe it would. I don't know. But you'd need a guild leaders alliance or a guild leaders forum somewhere that just it's like, I'm the leader of this guild.
It's 160 minutes. Oh, yep, come on in. Join the conversation. This is what we're talking about. This is what we want to do. Because, yes, the power is in the community, but at the end of the day, like you said, the guild is sacred. And people who are in a guild that want to remain in their guild ultimately have to do what their guild leader tells them, because their guild leader and their officers can boot them. Yeah, and sure, they could go off and find another guild, but is that what a closely knit guild really wants to do? No, they don't. So people will conform, and it's easy. It's something like that would be easy enough to explain to the guild. It's like, guys, these are our rewards if we lose, so we're going to do nothing and take those rewards. Spend some time on conquest, spend some time on your GAC, spend some time on other areas of the game. We are doing nothing, but we're going to get all these lovely, lovely rewards for doing nothing.
Let's bring it up on TEP server. Bring it up on TEP or Planet Coruscant. Let's have that conversation. Mm-hmm. How we can send that message. The interesting thing that I think you're going to find though, and we've had a pretty heated discussion for the last 48 hours on PC about this. A lot of the big guilds are pleased with these changes in TW. So it may be hard to get them on board with something like that. It's really the smaller ones that are super fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's there's going to be a level down. There's going to be a level that it starts out and down that would participate in something like that. And then there's going to be a level upwards. Like, I saw Vanguard against somebody else. Vanguard's got 415 mil GP. And they're up against someone with 380 mil GP. So Vanguard are looking at this territory war thinking, easy money. We've got 50 more GLs than our opponents. It's in the bag. This is great for us. Thanks for the changes. All those Relic 7, 8, 9 materials, they're ours. They're in the bag with very, very little effort, because they know all they got to do is dump their, GLs on. But like you said, the lower guilds, if there's a guild and none of them have GLs, just a standard guild with people that have just got your JKRs, your DR teams, your gas teams, your Shakti clone teams, your Padme teams, stuff like that, the CLSs, where they could actually be competitive. But, if they want to send a message to CG, they'd be like, well, it's no skin off our nose. I mean, we might win, but we also might lose. But if we do nothing, then we'll still get the lose rewards, because that is literally the way it was looked at in all the previous guilds that I was in. It was that casual that territory wars. All the guild cared about was hitting the threshold. It's like, right, brilliant. Okay, guys, we're over the 220. Whether you play or not or don't, we don't care, because the goal that we were looking for was those rewards. Whether you compete or not is entirely up to you. We don't care. We're getting those rewards for doing nothing, sort of thing. So
boycotting game modes, I hadn't thought about. I mean, we should definitely talk about it on the server and see what people say. There's always if I don't do it, then I fall behind. I mean, that's the fear that people have. But
FOMO is a huge motivator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I mean, when you look at what they're doing with the phase 1, with the lower tier gear, so the territory war prizes expanded, gear gear all divisions equal for victory and defeat. Now, yes, the core gear is only for victory only, and that's divisions 8 up. That's 60 mil GP. But beyond that, there's no need. It's just no need to compete, because everyone's going to get exactly the same victory. It says it there, all divisions equal victory and defeat. It's just as you start going up and up and up, like the Relic 1 to 7 materials, 170 million plus divisions 13 plus, that that's when it's victory only. But at that point, that's where you can start maybe getting guild leaders involved, saying, look, what if none of us get it? What if we all just get exactly the same gear as each other for doing nothing? Because the last time a game mode was boycotted was Territory Wars back in 2019, and it worked. Because the very next month they came out and said, we'll change it. We won't do this again. We'll slightly different kettle of fish, because they've made some big changes to this. I don't know if they could just roll it back. But they could they would definitely take it on the chin.
It's a big thing this time, because not only are you not getting the extra relic materials or even a relic 9 material at all if you're at 300 or above. It's also a core gear box. It's also gear 8 materials. It's relic 8 materials. It's also relic 1 through 7 materials that you basically, for lack of a better term, piss away if you don't win. They're putting a huge amount on it, and with a discrepancy of this matchmaking that we saw on the top end, who's going to want to become top end?
Mm-hmm. It's just going to be, the well and the Kraken guilds at the top constantly being put up people, much, much, much lower than them, Let me just... Okay, so here we go. So it was Clans Mandalorians versus SL Vanguard. SL Vanguard is 438 million GP versus a guild that is 388 million GP. How is that remotely fair? How is that even definitively... How can that be classed as competitive? It makes no sense. It makes absolutely none.
Without GL counters, it doesn't make any sense, right? And that's gone from the game.
Yeah, and we were discussing that earlier on. If none of the off meta counters had been changed, like for example, that sure, okay, so that guild's got 50 JMKs and it's got 50 Cs, but if the slacker zombie cheese and the Imperial Troopers hadn't been nerfed, do you think those guilds would be putting their 50 Cs and their 50 JMKs on defense? Would they? Bollocks. They'd be like, okay, nobody puts C on defense because our opponents have got 50 Imperial Troopers with the Dark Troopers. So let's not waste C on defense because they're just going to wipe them out. And if they look at their opponents and go, okay, they might not have the Lord Vaders, and they might not have the JMLs, but they do have 50 slackers with 50 zombies. We ain't putting JMK on defense because then the JMK. So, yes, to a certain degree, if they hadn't removed so many off-meta counters, if they hadn't removed the cheese counters, then the guilds that do have that massive GL advantage would still have to look at the 100 GLs available to them and go, okay, we're only going to put a handful of them on defense to make it slightly difficult for our opponents, but we definitely ain't going to put all of them on though. You watch though, somebody that's got 50 Cs, they're all going on defense. 50 JMKs with cat, they're all going on defense, unless maybe there are 50 JML teams, because we know that the JML team will counter the JMK team, even after this mistake that they've made that they've already posted on the forums. JML is hitting harder than he's supposed to.
And they nerfed that right away.
Yeah. So yeah, every time they make it impossible to beat these teams, the higher and higher guilds are just like rubbing their hands together. It's like, yeah, it's money in the bank. Just put the 50 JMKs in that territory, put the 50 Cs in that territory, and let's just watch them not get past the front two territories. But if they did that with off-meta counters still available, it just wouldn't happen, because there's no way a guild would go, let's put our 50 Cs there and our 50 JMKs there, because the other guild would be like, right, everybody get your slacker zombie cheese ready, and everybody get your Imperial Troopers with your dark troopers ready, because our opponents have just put two of the easiest wars for us to get past. Just, yeah.
Which game that you were just discussing makes you excited? Which version of the game?
The unnerved one makes it, because it requires strategy and it requires tactics. The current game requires none of that. All it requires is you having more GLs than your opponent.
Yeah,
and that was possibly the greatest thing that's happened in this game in years. Was Vader, Watt, all those different counters was so much fun to learn and experience and explore. I don't know.
Experience nonetheless, because you have to do it in a certain order. You're figuring it out. One of my favorite wins in the last Grand Arena Championship was when Army Hutchings taught me how to use Jedi Master Luke against Jedi Master Kenobi without Cat. But at the same time, that is a GL counter, but nonetheless, I learned how to do that, and it ensured that I got a triple crown that GAC round. It was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, and you're absolutely right. You take into consideration it would have been fun before. Well, it's not going to be as fun now. It's not. Here's the thing: every time they make these changes, everybody looks at it and goes, "Where's the fun?" It's not going to be fun. There are exceptions to every rule. It's going to be fun for the people with more GLs because they're going to win and they're going to get massive rewards. But it's not going to be fun for for somebody that's like, where's the fun? They got 50 more GLs than us. How are we supposed? Where's the fun? Where's the enjoyment? There isn't any there. But post nerf, it'd be like, okay, all right, these guys have got. It's going to be okay. Territory officers, start doing your thing. This guild has got 20 more GLs than us, but they're only Cs. For some reason, they've got more Cs than us. Now, we do have some guys with Imperial Troopers, so, just make sure that nobody puts Imperial Troopers on defense because we're probably going to need them. And, it's in the Discord.
And that's
away,
exactly
right?
where it
guys,
sounds more fun. Exactly.
Territory war officers are straight into Discord. Right, guys, our opponents have got 20 more Cs than us. If you've got Imperial Troopers, do not put them on defense. We need to save them because if they put them on defense, we're going to need every single one of those teams. That's fun. But going into your guild and saying, okay, I've looked at our opponents and they've got 50 more GLs than us, and we've probably got nothing that's going to beat them. So
everybody put Ewoks on defense.
Everyone put,
and I'll see you in 2 days.
Yeah, just put your stuff on defense. We're not going to bother playing because we've already lost. So why bother putting the effort in if we're already going to lose? Well, let's just take the L.
Great matchmaking.
Everybody,
great revamping of Territory Wars.
Go do something else for the next 20. Go do something else for the next 24 hours, guys. But yeah, no, they brought this on themselves with the nerfs. Oh, we had to rebalance the game. It's like, no, you didn't have to rebalance the game. You just needed to stop making every new thing that you bring out infinitely more expensive. If you hadn't made JMK if you'd made JMK the same price, if you'd made C and JML the same price as Rey and Kylo, and if you'd made JMK and Lord Vader the same price as JML and C, we wouldn't be having this discussion because everybody would be like, all the GLs cost exactly the same. They've got equal power and can equally take each other out. They brought this on themselves. It's like, okay, so we're going to have to take away from that, and that because we want to keep increasing the price of our next GL. Because we all know what's going to happen. Relic 9, next 2 GL is going to require 9s. We know it. So,
Neil, Pancakes in the chat has the perfect answer. You're outmatched. What you're going to do for the next 24 hours, Neil, is go play Conquest. Boom, more people playing Conquest. Solution there. Caden, we have had you for 20 minutes longer than we intended, but this was an amazing interview. Let's do this again soon. But why don't you advertise, if you will, the things that you're involved with?
I never advertise.
I know, but we have a guest on. We let them shill away. Free shilling.
Yes.
All right. If anyone wants to, what am I doing?
Actually, let me put this in terms you understand. Yeah. This is your opportunity for #shameless self-promotion.
Okay. Come to Planet Coruscant. We are always looking at ways to help players in the game. I think we've got the Discord link here. It'll be available. Please join. Please contribute. We need people to help provide information so that we can make the game playable and more enjoyable across the community. That's what we're about. Please come check us out.
There we go. Check out show notes for those for that information. For those who have joined this show to see Caden and have not seen the latest episode of Hellion the Noob, you have to stick around for that episode coming up in just a moment. Caden, we'll do this again real soon. Thanks for coming on the show. We'll see you guys on the other side for a very short bridge after these messages on the Escape Podcast.
In HotUtils is one of the most comprehensive tools for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
With integration into the super useful mod tool Grand Ivory, HotUtils can help you tackle some of the most difficult aspects of the game.
Not sure how to mod your roster for a certain game mode?
Use one of the many filters that automatically assigns the right mods to the right character in accordance with your guild needs.
Now with the digital features that can assist you and your guild officers in territory battles and territory wars, HotUtils is an amazing value.
And don't forget the useful tools for yourself in Grand Arena, like the in-depth and customizable compare feature.
Got multiple accounts like Neil, but not the time to remod them all?
With this one-stop utility, you can switch between your alts and never miss a mod upgrade or a mod switch before locking into GAC or Territory Wars.
Starting at just $5 a month, you don't want to miss out on these great tools.
HotUtils is the new official remodding service for the Escape Pod cast.
Visit HotUtils.com to learn more. That's HotUtils.com. And go ahead and spice up your Galaxy of Heroes experience.
Podawans, be sure to support the shows brought to you on the Escape Podcast Twitch and YouTube channel by becoming a Patreon. For as little as $2 a month, you can support us and get a little extra for yourself. With tiered rewards including access to Shitty Bill's Arena tracking bot, after-show access, inclusion in the GA Center leaderboards, behind-the-scenes access, and much more. There is something for everyone on our Discord server. Head on over to Patreon, that is patreon.com/The Escape Pod, and sign up today. Thank you for supporting and listening to the Escape Podcast.
The following episode of Hellion the Noob has a character based on a real person. Permission was granted to use the name and virtual likeness.
And now time for something completely shameless.
When we last saw our antagonists, they ran into enemies on Corellia. They were facing down two of TC-14's greatest creations. A heated battle ensued. Serves them right. Nobody likes Hellenics. Both Hellenics and the noob performed maneuvers most of us would just laugh at. Thank God for them, the victorious Viking found them on their way to their ship and joined them in this fight. Let's pick back up with this latest episode of Hellion the Noob to see if these fugitives from the law get their comeuppance.
Newbie! Special move, and make it count.
Here goes nothing.
Oh, come on! Those blasters are the most overpowered weapons available to us. They've destroyed Beskar reinforced quintuple-layered Durasteel with mithril mesh in the past. And now against these two rock clowns, not even a scratch? Alright, whatever. Time for my special move.
Oh, jeez. You gotta be kidding me.
What in the space hell? Even that does no damage?
They're rock creatures, Hellenics. Lightning attacks have no effect on them. Haven't you ever played any Pokemon games?
This is getting stupid. Shaman, my man, do something.
I guess I'll do my special move? You shall not pass!
Oh, for crying out loud, a taunt? What good will that do us?
What's the problem this time, Hellenics?
We need to eliminate these rock guys, not divert their attacks. Their attacks don't even cause any serious damage. This battle's gonna go past 5 minutes, and I never let it last for more than 5 minutes. Seriously, Drum Monkey?
Hellenics, I just finished reading these guys' kits.
You are not
going to like this.
Hurry up, newbie. The timer's counting down. Spill the beans already. Give me the short version of whatever it is you found.
Well, the short version is these are the newest galactic legends released by the SSP devs. Basically, without an ultimate ability, you can't damage them.
Let's stun them this time. Yeah.
Oh, great. Now we're stunned. This sucks.
Well, maybe if we didn't stop for space,
Rose.
we wouldn't be in this predicament in the first place.
Meatbag.
You know what, noob? Why don't you just shut up? If you got nothing helpful to offer, why keep talking? All you ever do is complain.
Guys?
Me? Complain? Oh, that's rich. Especially coming from you, who calls himself the salty Spartan.
Oh, no. I've earned the right to complain, noob. I've been at this for almost 6 years. You just picked up this game and have no idea how much I've sacrificed for this garbage content.
Guys.
Oh yeah? Well, fine. I'm gonna go buy a hyperdrive bundle pack and...
What good will a hyperdrive pack do? You can't equip it mid-battle. Plus, it's gonna violate your free-to-play pledge. And I am not in the mood to listen to Neil rag on us for dumping money into the SSP coffers.
Guys!
What?
I still have my summoning move, and I know exactly who to summon. Here goes. By the power of SWGOH, I summon the bravest!
Oh, isn't he cute? Yeah, he's adorable. What's it gonna do? Yeah, tickle us to death.
Yes! He did it!
Whoa.
Okay, Mr. Viking Man, who is that character? He seems very, very cool. I want a formal introduction. I bet we could be great friends. He seems exactly like the type of character we need to join us for our mission to confront DC-14.
Noob, don't you know who this is?
Pipe down, both of you. You are in the presence of greatness. Show some class, please. Yes, kind soul. We are humbled. We thank you. Without you, we would not have ended our non-stop bickering and overcome these adversaries. Your strength and poise are an eternal lesson to us all. Your example is one we should all always strive toward achieving. We are humbled by your appearance and appreciate your brief intervention. May the Force be with you. Always.
I can barely believe it.
Okay, will somebody explain to me exactly what
just happened?
You see, young adventurer, that was the bravest entity this galaxy has ever known. That was Minnie Snowwalker, a being of legend who once walked among us in this realm, and now travels the nether realm of the Force. As the Wills once wrote in their journals, Minnie Snowwalker was a being whom, despite his small stature and young age, could face impossible odds, without fear, odds that would make even the strongest among us crumble in sheer terror. Unfortunately, a dark entity of despair, born of the fourth sign, confronted Minnie, and an epic battle ensued. Sadly for us, the little one departed our realm after losing his fight against that vile foe. However, although defeated in that battle, he did not truly lose. For the legend says, if we merely remember him, he will never truly be lost, and he will always walk among us. For his ally is the Force, and a powerful ally it is. His name is Minnie Snowwalker, and it shall never be forgotten. For he was the bravest among us, and his example will forever be one we should each be inspired by. While gone from this realm, Minnie Snowwalker is eternal.
Whoa. I'm honored.
As you should be, young one. Now, let's all head toward your ship and make our way to Coruscant.
This episode dedicated to Minnie Snowwalker, 2006 to 2021. May the Force be with you.
That was quite touching. Minnie Snowwalker was indeed a hero. I almost don't want to make fun of the lethargic Laconian at this point. Almost. Oh, who am I kidding? Will the noob violate his sacred free-to-play pledge, and will his doing so cause an outrage? Will Cartoon Hellenic's pit stop at a coffee shop for Freddo Espresso while en route to Coruscant? We all know the Greek is addicted to caffeine. Will the victorious Viking crack both these guys' skulls with his mud hammer? I'm hoping. Yes, I'm even willing to pay good money to see this. Would you like to see the same? If you answered yes to this question, then all you have to do is make sure to stay tuned to the Escape Pod cast every Friday, so you never miss a single episode of Ellie and the Noob.
The Escape Pod cast. The Bridge.
All right, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This has been an amazing show, Neil. The very, very powerful show, very serious yet passionate show.
Definitely one of the good ones, that's for sure.
We are going to save every single Patreon's Choice question because we are already coming up on 2 hours. We're going to save every Patreon's Choice question that's currently in there. None of them seemed time sensitive, so we'll do those next week. But thank you very much to all the Patreons for supporting a show like this and allowing us to do interviews with people like Caden. So, Neil, what do you have coming up on your channel? Or on our channel?
On our channel, just some GAC stuff. Obviously, my GACs. I'm on another winning streak at the moment, and as always, GA Center. GA Center's been everything's been kind of like up in the air at the moment because I'm back looking for another house. A lot of the time is out and about viewing houses. So it leaves very little time for proper scheduled programming, but I'll get there in the end, and it'll always get out at some point.
Well, I will clear the way. I'll make the channel absolutely 100% available to you this weekend, so we can get an episode of GA Center out there.
Mm-hmm. We'll get it out there at some point
because we want to report on this week, because this week was a very good week. It was a very interesting week. And then hopefully we'll be back to regularly scheduled programming next week. But that being said, because I also want to get Lego Star Wars Battles going on the Escape Podcast channel. It is on Apple Arcade. I would love to start playing that for our viewers and our listeners on the Twitch channel. But over on Vault 37, Mrs. Anthony and I tomorrow afternoon, we will be playing hopefully the next to last episode of Lego Pirates. And then this weekend we should move on to Lego Batman 2, Lego Harry Potter 2. In our effort to 100% every single Lego game. But that'll be happening on Vault 37 Studios on Twitch, twitch.tv/Vault37 Studios. But yeah, and then Creator Cup 2, November 14th or 13th, whatever that Sunday is, all day Central Time Sunday. November 14th, Creator Cup 2, Bounty Honeys versus the Escape Podcast. Anything else for you before we sign off, because we're already over time?
No, all good, mate.
All right, guys, absolute pleasure. Neil, thank you so much for a wonderful show. We will do this next week, same time, same channel. Maybe we have a puzzle. Maybe we'll have SB Crumb on. It all depends on what CG decides to do. And if not, we'll have another great guest. That's a promise. So be nice to each other, damn it. Neil, you got anything to say?
Yeah, push the button.
Don't mind if I do.
What's going on? Where the hell are we? Paris?
This is Colonel Sanders in forward command. Abandon ship! Abandon ship! All personnel proceed to escape pods. Close down the circuits. Evacuate the city. Southern strike mechanism has been activated. Abandon ship! Where is it? Where is it? It's gonna be here. Out of order! Even in the future, nothing works.
This ship will self-destruct in exactly 10 seconds. Counting down. 10, 9, 8, 6.
6! What happened to 7?
Just kidding. 3, 2, 1. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Hello, friends. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy. The Escape Podcast was filmed in front of a live studio audience full of tweaked out murder bears.
Sit, Boo Boo, sit. Good dog.